You stand at the edge of a flickering veil. The golden-hued skyline of 1960s Manhattan stretched beneath your feet. The world feels new, uncharted, even though its bones are old and its heart older still. You look up and see the Baxter Building, rising like a sentinel of innovation, humming with quantum potential. There is no origin story this time, not in the traditional sense. The four are already together. Red Sue, Johnny been already changed, already fractured by brilliance and burden. They're not fresh-faced adventurers, but pioneers orbiting a cosmic mystery that glows far beyond what any telescope can trace. You're moving through this alternate universe, slipping through its wires and whispers, and everything feels like a page torn from an old comic rendered in Technicolor and static. But the truth lies deeper, behind the curtain of reality, where Jonathan Hickman's influence lingers like ink stains on the soul of this world. His voice echoes through science bending into prophecy. Through universes layered like skin, the Fantastic Four aren't confined to their tower. They stretch through multiverses, fold time with equations, taste the edge of annihilation. And that's when you hear it, the whisper of Galactus, not a monster, not a villain, but an inevitability. His coming is written not in prophecy but in probability, carved into the algorithms of every dimension he's ever touched. And this film, this introduction, is not about saving Earth, but witnessing how small everything becomes when true scale arrives. You drift further, backward and forward. There's the soft echo of Doom's laughter, distant but deliberate, carried on the same wind as whispers of the negative zone. You see flashes of a figure cloaked in radiation and madness, and you realize it's not Galactus, not yet. It's something else, a terror hidden between molecules, Annihilus in the dark void of the negative zone. Something stirs, clawing at the edges of space-time. You see Henry Cavill now, not as Superman, not as a man at all, but as the looming shadow of an Annihilus, terrible, with a voice like colliding worlds. His face is a mask, but his soul hums with the hunger of extinction. He was once meant for the Nova series. You remember, a Starship Troopers-like plunge into war with an insectide. But plans changed, realities folded, and now he waits, quietly, at the edge of the MCU's cosmic rebirth. You see flashes of Nova Richard Rider, caught in the storm of the annihilation wave. The first planet falls, and he is there, screaming through plasma and fire. But this isn't his story yet. It waits in the wings. Just like Cavill, just like Destiny. What matters now is the four. The past, the present, the multiverse, and read, always read. His mind stretches like a string pulled taut across time, and somewhere in the back of it, another voice speaks. To me, my Galactus, you're still moving, through stories nested within one another, like Russian dolls cracked open in reverse. You blink, and it's Franklin, just a boy, but not a child. Yes, but shaped by something immense. His tiny hands glow faintly with impossible energy. His birth is no accident, it is a cosmic event, a fracture point in the shape of a lullaby. He's born tied to Annihilus, to the control rod, to the moment a universe flinched and gave him a piece of its soul. The control rod once bent the negative zone to Annihilus's will, but now a sliver of its essence lives inside Franklin Richards. It sings in his blood, it pulses in his dreams. He will be important, monumental. You watch him float above a cradle, eyes glowing as he rewrites the physics of a mobile. He is a godly, the kind that terrifies even beings like Kang, like Strange, like Doom, and somewhere, Doom watches too, always watching. But Franklin is not alone in Destiny's cradle. Valeria is there, not yet born, but waiting. Her story runs sideways. Through corridors of fractured timelines you follow her thread, and suddenly you're standing in a future where Doom is no longer a tyrant, but a father. You hear his voice, softer than you've ever imagined, not because he's kind, but because love strange and twisted has taken root in his heart. Valeria is his, and not his, the daughter of Reed and Sue, lost and saved, unborn and reborn. Franklin plucked her soul from death and slipped it into an alternate world, a sanctuary, a detour, a betrayal of time itself. There she was raised by Sue, married to a different Doom who had turned away from war. She grows brilliant, cleverer than her parents, smarter, some say, than Reed himself. But time is a wheel that remembers. Reality folds again. Valeria returns, first as a ghost, then as a fetus once more. She is born again, this time into the right universe, but not without a price. Reed is captured. Johnny begs Doom for help, and for once, Doom says yes, in the flickering shadows of a delivery room. He casts a spell. He claims her as family, names her Valeria after a love long past, and she accepts him, not as tyrant, but as uncle. This is not the story you expect. This is the story that breathes. You move now between worlds that should never touch. The threads tighten, the Maker watches from the edge of multiversal collapse. He wears Reed's face, but not his heart. He is the Reed who broke, who bent under pressure and snapped into villainy. 1,000 years of planning, of corruption, of brutal logic. The Maker is a mirror cracked, and through it, you see what could have been. He is destined to rise, perhaps not in Secret Wars, perhaps not yet, but he waits, like an Annihilus, like Doom. You see the moments stacked like dominoes, Galactus and the distant Celestials buried beneath oceans, the Eternals fading into the footnotes of Phase 4. But that giant hand, the one frozen in the Indian Ocean, it still pulses, it hums with secrets, with adamantium, with opportunity. You see the seeds planted in Captain America, brave new world, waiting to be harvested in blood and legacy. You begin to understand. Secret Wars isn't just an end. It's a beginning, a collapse, and a convergence, and the four are at its center. They will not fight alone. There is movement in the shadows. Mutants, Inhumans, forgotten names flicker back into existence. Agents of SHIELD, Quake, echoes of powers once discarded. You feel the MCU threading its new tapestry, stitching loose ends into multiversal gold. Everything can matter again, if told right, if remembered. You hear it again, to me, my Galactus, that a future. That terrifying vision of Franklin Richards summoning a devourer not as enemy but as companion, against the mad Celestials, against time itself. That moment, not yet earned, but promised, and you feel the film itself shifting. This isn't a one-off, this is the start of something large, a trilogy, perhaps a myth reborn. Certainly, somewhere, Spider-Man swings through the skyline, unaware of how closely his threads are woven into theirs. He has danced with Reed before, in comics, in stories. He will do so again. You know this. And then there's the idea you can't shake. Fantastic Four versus X-Men, once a pitch, now a possibility. A civil war reborn in different skin. Franklin in the middle, power unbound. You drift upward now, rising through layers of time and story, past Ironheart's forge of tech and sorcery, where Dr. Doom's soul is being outlined in hidden lines. Ryan Coogler's voice drifts in, shaping pieces of lore behind the curtains. The magic, the machine, the monarch, and it all bends toward one final breath. The MCU is becoming something else, something mythic. The four are not just explorers now. They are anchors, bridges between the familiar and the unknown. Franklin and Valeria, children of gods and men, beings of impossible potential. Annihilus waits, Galactus looms, Doom prepares, and you, the watcher in the veil, feel it in your bones. The age of fantastic is upon us, and it will never be small again. Before you drift too far across the multiversitica moment, you reach out, your finger hovering just above the glowing like button. You press it, and somewhere in another timeline, the story deepens. The algorithm listens. The watchers nod. Fin subscriber, don't just follow, you join the expedition, because this isn't just a video, it's a gateway on what comes next. Only the brave will see it. Turn on notifications, become part of the legend, and prepare for everything that's still to come.